Hello and welcome back to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I am your producer, Jeremiah Long, and it is with a great pleasure that I would like to bring you our host, my esteemed colleague, Mr. Football himself. We call him Vincent Turner. How's it going, man?
Hey man, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing really, really well. It's a Monday morning. We're here in August. We know we're finally getting close to football season. So, this is one of the best times of the year for our entire crew. And I'm sure you're really excited to be talking about these legendary people from football history.
Well, when you look at it, overall football season is going to be kicking off in the next 2 weeks. Then you're going to have the college season kicking off in September. And then when you look at all the great legends that played this game, it's a perfect time to talk about all these great players here on 100 Yards of Football.
Absolutely. And today is one of those days, of course. Today, we are talking about the legendary Willie Brown from USC. And I just want to know exactly what do you think about him? Where did he come from? What was his upbringing? And why is he such a legendary player in football? Let me turn it over to you, Mr. Turner.
Willie Brown played at USC from 1961 to 1963, and what makes his story so special is that he was team captain on USC's first national championship team under John McKay back in 1962. And he had the key interception in the Rose Bowl game in 1963 against Wisconsin. Plus, Willie Brown kept the tradition of African-American athletes coming on the campus of USC in the 60s and 70s. But what I like about Willie Brown, he was born in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, out of all the places in college football. Then at 18 months old, his family moved out to Los Angeles. Then when you look at Willie Brown, he played his high school football at Lone Polytech out there in Long Beach. And when you look at the alum that played at Lone Polytech, you got to think about Willie McGinnis, Deshaun Jackson, Mark Carrier, some outstanding football players. Earl McCullough, who played on that USC team in 1967. Then look at all the other athletes that went to Lone Polytech that Mr. Willie Brown set the foundation. Billie Jean King in tennis, Chase Utley in baseball, Tony Gwynn in baseball. Then the entertainers that went to that school, Mr. Snoop Dogg, we don't have to say no more, and then Mrs. Cameron Diaz. So when you look at Willie Brown had already set a foundation playing at that great high school. But when he got to USC in 1960 and played from 1961 to 1962, you got to understand that he was one of those guys that set the foundation, as I just mentioned. He was the first team captain on John McKay's first national championship team. Then look what he done afterwards. He got drafted by the LA Rams in the third round, went on and played 3 years in the National Football League. But what I like about Mr. Willie Brown, short career in the National Football League, but he came back to USC and became the first Black assistant coach at USC. And think about all the players that he helped recruited that came after him. Mike Garrett, O.J. Simpson, Jimmy Jones, Sam the Bam Cunningham, Ricky Bell, Dennis Thurman, Charles Weaver. Can I say any more? Lynn Swann. And the whole foundation, all those great USC teams from the 70s on up to the 80s, winning all those national championships. Willie Brown had a mainstay in the success of that football program. And not only that, a lot of people don't understand about Willie Brown. He was an outstanding baseball player. He played center field on that 1963 USC baseball team. So this is a guy that's really royalty and was really respected at Southern California. Plus, when you look at Willie Brown as a player, he was a two-way player on that national championship team in 62. He played tailback and he played defensive back. As a tailback, his skill set was vision, A+, initial quickness, A+, balance, A+, elusiveness, A+, burst, A+, and then as a cornerback, the instincts, A+, man-to-man coverage, A+, and he had what we always call in football the FBI, football intelligence. Willie Brown is going to go down as one of the greatest football players and coaches that ever came through Southern California. And he is a mainstay of Southern California, having all the success under John McKay in the 70s. And when you think about Willie Brown, think about the legacy of the Trojan Foundation. outstanding football player, excellent individual. And my final words about Willie Brown today, and I know Trojan Nation is going to love this. This is what his peers said about him, his former players, and John McKay. When you think about Willie Brown, you think about him being a very humble individual, a great sounding board for all those great players that came to USC, and a person that's going to always be respected to the most ultimate level. If you like the video today, please come in and share it on 100 Yards of Football. Willie Brown, defensive back, tailback, and the first African-American coach on USC staff, the University of Southern California. Y'all be blessed here today on 100 Yards of Football.